Today's Lorain County Budget Work Sessions, Wednesday, November 19th, and we have Lorain County Recorder with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Can you hear me? Oh, it's on, is it?
Good morning.
Maybe move it to you.
Nope.
They're not on now, guys.
They were on earlier.
The microphones.
Or are they not on in the room, or are they just on in the live? Because she mentioned
She did say mention it.
turning it
really?
off in the room so you wouldn't.
Oh, okay, well, if it's live on,
Feedback.
okay, as long as you,
Now you may want to
As long as
move
you
up
can
because
get it.
as
it's,
long as you can hear us, that's,
Yeah,
and,
okay.
There you go.
and, you know, I need
That's
to
fine.
apologize for yesterday. I said there was 3 people watching. I guess there's quite a few people watching this, so I guess budgets are starting to become exciting nowadays, so that's the good news.
Are these all the same?
What we handed out to you is what KC and our budget team has put together. We have information that goes back to probably 2010. We decided to only go back to 2021, and that's what this document's for. If you don't mind, Teresa, showing this on the screen so that those that are paying attention would like to screenshot it, save it, or whatever. So this is what we're going to be discussing for the next either 5 minutes or a half hour, depending on the recorder's time frame. Okay, thanks, Teresa. We'll go back to the discussion. Did you guys watch our meeting at all yesterday to prep? Okay, I'm not gonna repeat what we said, because it's like 15 minutes of what's going on, such as the budget basically is 82 million is what we voted on. We did some assumptions based on history that we're probably gonna be at about 86 million. The ask from everybody is 97 million, so we do have to come up with some trimming of everybody's budgets, and that's what this discussion's about, so. We got some apples to apples, as you can see in 2025. Casey will have to correct me, I think, was it 25, the first year we added in everyone's budgets,
It's the first year that ever has hospitalization, life insurance, and Medicare
Yeah.
as
part of their budget. That used to be under the commissioners, all of it. And it wasn't really a good, apples to apples. So now, all the expenses that are incurred actually is being allocated to all the departments and offices. And then that's what you're looking at right now, is what the actual spend was in your expenses. So, we wanted to give you a fair, by having one with hospitalization and one without, so.
if you'll recall, when we made that shift, it was basically for management. We had completed an audit and we found, the good news was there were only 18 people on the hospitalization that shouldn't be there by the time the audit was complete. But at the beginning of the audit, there was over 100. So those that knew that they shouldn't be there heard about the audit and
Hurried up and left.
fixed the problem for us. But at the end of the day, we developed that, that if that's the employee and you're managing that employee, then you determine when they take time off and, what their pay is and the PERS and the hospitalization, the benefits. You're in a position to know whether they got married, they had a kid, they got divorced, what the deal is. So that means we won't have to spend money on doing an audit every 2 or 3 years, because you folks will be doing a perpetual audit because of the effect on your budget.
All right. So since that audit found, you said 18 people, but there were 100 ahead of time. Do we have a breakdown by office? Like, do I know?
No, we didn't.
No.
No, we didn't do that.
That's just the county-wide.
Yeah, well, also I won't say which community, one community actually pulled out of our life, which made me wonder too.
Yeah.
Actually said, we don't wanna be in the county's, plan anymore. And they actually pulled out and got their own. So they went from a plan that had over 2,000, 2,200 participants to their own, saying we're gonna save money, which we feel, we're not gonna argue what the real reasons were.
Right.
So,
But the reason
Yeah.
for that is that we were not interested in pinning the tail on anybody's
Right.
donkey on how we got here, because we felt it was just mismanaged, and we didn't want to get into he said and she said. We just wanted to fix the problem.
Right.
and so, that's why the way we broke this down, so your personal expense budget, you're requesting $1,000,071.
Yeah.
So, it's a 3% increase. But again, it wouldn't be fair to say that you had this big increase in healthcare, you know what I mean? So that's kinda, what we were looking at, so.
Yeah, we had a big increase on healthcare.
But that's not gonna be
We,
in there though, because we took it out, so we want to be fair,
Okay,
and that's
okay.
what we did here. So if
Right.
you look above it and see 1,071,000,
Right,
that's what you're requesting, so.
right, but that's including the healthcare, okay.
And if you look underneath it, it's 765 if you
111, yeah.
yeah.
And the healthcare, to the taxpayer, the healthcare is it's just an accounting measure because it's still general fund whether you pay for it and manage it in your budget or we do it in ours.
Yeah, it still comes from the same pot.
It still comes from the same pot, but we felt it was appropriate to get that in line because there are other things that the commissioners wanted to do and we needed to create some space to do that. So we're using that space, to do shared services and things like that, so.
So yeah, overall, what our request for next year is that $1,071,000, which covers our salary and hospitalization, and then we're asking for 15,000 in miscellaneous, just fees, supplies, and that. Really, our office runs pretty lean. We asked for a 3% increase last year for '25. And then this year is a 4% increase on those salaries, and that's just trying to keep up with, just our increases per.
Yeah, we get all that. The counter rail to that is that, tax revenue for the county is fairly flat. And we anticipated that, and last year, if you remember, when we passed the '25 budget, we said, start planning now to stay inside that budget for '26. We didn't know where the sales tax was gonna go or anything like that, but we at least knew that our revenue stream, it was 86 million, for last year, and it looks pretty much the same for this year.
And as for, because the majority of everything you'll see on ours is salaries.
Yep.
And then we've got
Yep.
like $15,000 of other expenses, like, where's that at? But another thing, we knew that some of this was possibly coming, and I had an assistant previously, and we eliminated that position to help with budget as well.
Okay.
And then this $15,000 of supplies and staff training and dues and those kind of things. I mean, we could see what we could do to get rid of that, but without layoffs or anything like that, I don't see how we can.
Well,
cut
15,000 is not gonna
Yeah,
put
I
a
said
dent when
15,000
we're
is
off
not gonna-
by,
Yeah, exactly.
11 million.
Right.
What about your, cause right now, if you look at it, you've had a 32% increase since 2021 in expenses on your total budget.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at, if it was 3% a year for 4 years, it'd be 12. So that's some of the things that are sticking out on these numbers. So yesterday when I was talking to some of the other elected officials, we point out certain things so that, this is kind of what we're looking at. You had a 32% increase in 4 years. And then you go down below, what we decided to do is take a look at your revenue streams and what you have coming in. It says here you decreased due to a fee split with the equipment fund. And then at the bottom of that, we have a special revenue cash balance that you got right now, about 639,000 projected. That's increased due to fee split with general fund. That's what that says there.
Okay.
So some of the things we're looking at is what is the allowed expenditures for those revenue streams that you're receiving that we can probably use for shared costs and other areas that we're looking at to mitigate some of their losses. Because they don't all of our elected officials don't receive income. They
Right.
don't receive grants. They just, some of these offices are just necessary,
Right, they're just
expense.
necessarily,
Yeah.
like the fire department's not making money.
Right,
I
right.
know that's not the county, but.
I know. Sometimes they think it is. So that's the kind of stuff we're kind of looking for you to help.
Right.
So for example, you guys seem to be the ones, like the auditor, it seems to be having issues with computers. Are you guys within our fort? I call it our fort. Are you within our,
We fall under county IT.
We fall under county IT, we didn't separate out, so we're using Conversant.
you are using Conversant now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have we were just on the line with Phoenix 21 or that
Yep,
they're under
yep.
Conversant.
Well, they're the ones that caught, I think they're the ones that saw that you guys recently got another attempt.
We got a hold of them.
Right.
Because of this, attempt that was there.
Yep.
And then everything worked the way it was supposed to, so
Yep.
we're just where we are. Unfortunately, there was another county who is
That-
still down.
Oh, yeah,
This was vendor initiated though, right? It came through a vendor to us.
yeah.
Correct. With us falling under county IT, we're just using the
Okay.
internet and.
Do you have
some
staff
administrative
allocated to
share
IT?
folders.
We do not have IT allocated staff, no.
Okay.
We use the county's IT, and then, our vendor has support that they provide us through theirs as well,
So
like,
who's the vendor?
that would be, DTS,
Document technology
Document
systems.
Technology Systems, yeah.
Is that your software?
That's who our software is through, yes.
How
And
much,
then we
how do you pay
use-
them?
We pay them from,
Quarterly.
From where?
We're quarterly out of our technology fund.
Where's that at on here?
The special revenue.
that's
Special
that,
revenue.
one down at the bottom,
You got 639,000 in there?
yeah.
Is there a way that we can help mitigate the costs of Conversant using the technology fund?
We put it all in there already, we already did that.
What's the
I don't think that
question?
was my question.
Oh,
Are
sorry.
you telling me you gave us all that money already?
Oh, sorry, no.
Oh, thank you.
No,
I didn't
said
know that.
Conversant. My
Yeah.
mistake.
Okay, no, what,
So
I
what
think
you're
what the
asking is-
commissioner's asking is, we've got a multi-million-dollar expense with Conversant,
Okay,
okay? And if you've got, if normally you would have your own network,
right.
and you'd have to spend some money, if we could reallocate those dollars to the bigger network, then
Yeah.
that would take
And
care
I'll
of
tell you,
that.
this year, we were actually going to our own devices to actually seek out similar services, and that's where we found out that you guys were with Conversant, is when we went to, the prosecutor's office to discuss that, agreement. And that was about a $50,000 to $60,000 agreement that we had, so we were looking to allocate.
Yeah, we were looking to do something
Are you
like
still
that.
under that agreement, or is that expired?
No, we didn't go through with it once
didn't
we
go through with
found
it,
out
okay.
that,
We
could-
didn't want to duplicate services.
Well, no, that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
We've been fighting for 4.5, well, I've been fighting for 25 years. When I first got here in 2001, it was like everybody had their own fiefdoms. And couldn't pull it off then, tried
Right.
doing it again, and we had a hard time doing it. But now, based on what's happened the last 12 months,
Yeah.
especially your office, why they want to come after you guys, probably because of the
Well,
homes.
that's exactly it.
I don't know
mean,
why.
we are high risk
The-
Yeah,
target. I mean,
So
Yeah.
is the auditor's office.
For
So
that-
between you two,
For that mortgage deed theft and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been looking into it a lot.
Just for the
There's-
public, if our office goes down and that data gets lost, I mean.
well, it
it's a-
slows down the real estate
shuts
sales, the
everything.
transactions,
Yeah,
all that
the
stuff.
transaction.
I'm
I call it the
surprised-
whole county
I'm surprised that
ecosystem.
Conversant would quote them separate, knowing that they're
No,
part.
no,
No, they didn't.
Conversant didn't quote us separate.
They were
We-
going elsewhere
We
to
were,
look.
we were looking for,
Oh, okay.
essentially, we're really security minded. We have to be in our office. And we wanted to make sure that we are under county IT, but also separate as well.
Well, that's
so that
how
we
this is
have
set
our-
up. That's how
yeah,
this
and
is
that's,
set
and
up.
that's how Conversant was trying to get it set up. We were just having some issues with communication getting to the different levels between us and Conversant, which seems to have been cleared up in the past
I think
couple
it's
weeks.
cleared up now, but
Yeah,
they,
I'm just saying
Conversant,
originally when we were looking outside.
no,
we wanted to make
Conversant,
sure
you
we
gotta
were-
give them credit. As a vendor, they actually
Yeah.
told us in private that they were gonna terminate because none of the elected officials wanted to work with us. And I'm hoping, seeing how we are and what happened with the breach from the auditor's office,
Mhm.
that all of us kinda came together and worked together to fix this thing, and it all worked. They saw that we were all on the same page, and we're here to help out everybody
Yeah.
as a whole. And the goal for these budget workshops is to stop the duplication of services,
Right.
bring everybody within, but at the same time, it's expensive.
Right.
So if there's revenue streams you're getting that's allocated just for security, internet,
Right.
whatever, we're asking all the electeds, what do you have that we can mitigate those costs? And we'll have even, like, some of them have their own IT person.
Right.
Well, they could still have that person, but maybe form our own help desk.
The software and
yeah.
stuff, we don't intend to,
Yeah, guys
databases
know what
and
you want, you
software
know,
is
yeah.
up
We
to.
agree with everything you're saying, and again, this was early summer, we started this process, and once we found out about it, we had that talk, but we've been hanging tight till everything got developed with
Right.
Conversant and the county. And so I think we're finally coming to a head where we're gonna be able to start implementing some of those discussions that we wanted to do this summer, probably beginning first quarter next year with Converse. And I've been, gentleman's name's Dustin.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of great conversations just because of what happened last week. But again, this is us learning, and we've, with our provider, our vendor, we've
Yeah,
gone out and we've
there's a
put
new
that
policy
protection
that
in.
we've adopted that you should get yourself up to speed on, because the state legislature mandated that the commissioners execute a policy, and it's more than just building the security network.
Right.
It's policies and procedures to maintain that security.
Right.
Right.
And so,
Yeah, House Bill 96, we're familiar with it.
Yeah.
And the reporting to the Homeland Security and the auditor.
and Todd and Conversant worked to create that policy. We've passed it already at the commissioner level, within the last 30 days. But there's a lot of training and stuff that's in there that people are gonna need to adapt, because we can control the hardware piece, but the internal piece is ours and yours to control.
Right, exactly.
So,
What are you guys doing with HR? Are you doing that in-house, or are you working with the county? We're looking at shared services again, just like with the computers with our
Right.
HR.
We haven't had much instances where we've needed HR, but I have reached out to Eliza, and
Eliza.
I utilize the prosecutor's office.
Elise.
Elise,
At least, yeah.
Yeah, and our goal there is all the onboarding and record keeping, is yours as long as you follow the protocol and stuff, because you gotta do payroll and you gotta do, time off and all that that mundane part of HR. But when you get into the issues like FMLA and discipline and all those things, we'd like to centralize those so that, out of fairness to the employees, that everybody's getting treated the same.
Right.
Yeah, and I hope that shows, our budget, we've got 10 people in our office. We have done that. We haven't taken on extra IT. We haven't taken on extra HR personnel. We're
Kudos.
self-reliant. So.
Kudos.
Well, because we even looked into, like, what would it cost us to have our own IT, just to see what would make, and then with the amount of cost that it would be for us to hire an IT person here full-time, and then if something goes down, we've only got one person that's dedicated for our office, and then we have to
Correct.
find out other resources somewhere else. So at the size that we are and the budget, but, and within budget, it doesn't make sense for us to have our own IT staff, so it makes sense for us to work with.
You just wrote the commercial for shared services. Thank you.
Other things I know Commissioner Gallagher's working on is your total cost for next year looks like it's gonna be about close to $300,000 in healthcare. And that's what's really nailing us this year, is our healthcare expenses have gone up significantly. So we'll be reviewing that, and hopefully by 27, and people aren't gonna be happy. It's like they're not happy to have Cadillac plan. Well, okay, so we revisit that plan, and it's gonna be cut. A lot of benefits could be cut, but it'll be affordable. And then you're gonna be in that, we're gonna be struggling with that too, which will hopefully assist you in your budget. So,
Not hopefully.
well, it
We
will.
If we're not careful in a day, 4 or 5 years after I'm gone,
Yeah.
the county will exist just to pay
That's it.
hospitalization.
Yeah.
So, a couple of questions concerning the budget, and comparing it to ARPA. You got an ARPA, grant through the commissioners back in '22 for about, just under $400,000 for new equipment. Did that create any efficiencies that we could?
So those funds were to secure the scanning and digitization of all of our books going back to 1824. So we have done.
Oh, okay, so that was
those
just-
books were scanned in, they're now digitized, and we have that back record. When we came into this office,
Okay.
most were backed up on microfilm, but not all. So we have since, all of our index books, which was the most important part, were not backed up at all. To recreate just the indexing alone, let alone losing the images, could have been
Okay.
detrimental to the county. But yeah, we've got that all secured and backed up. And again, in that cloud redundancy, and we're still working on more projects to even bring more redundancy. Because every time the electric goes out, the power goes out, the internet goes out, we're trying to keep that office up and running so the title offices, banks, and attorneys can still do their searches.
Yeah, that's one of the things we realized when we came in here, was that the images are very important to keep, but if you can't find those images, that's the hard part. So the indexes are, if not more important than are just as important, and as the images themselves, because if you tell me, you know, I'm looking for a deed from 1927, we've got, you know, several thousand
Right.
deeds from that era, and you'd have to look all the way through. And a lot of times you're not going to know what exact year it is, especially when you're getting on those older deeds. So we did get all those index books scanned in visually for now, because that was the more cost-effective option. And then we're working on some in-house projects to continue back indexing into our normal system, so you could just type in the name. Because the way it works right now online is it's like looking through the books. Have you ever looked through our books with those? Yeah, so you just, right now you scroll through the book and you look for the name, whereas now it's a virtual version of that, where you just you pick for Smith, you pick the S book, and then you turn to the page that has Smith on it, and then you go down that list. What we want to build to is to have our full index all the way back to that, but we're not trying to pay an outside vendor $2 million to do it, because that's what everybody's trying to ask you. It's like, that's obviously not where we're gonna spend money on that, when we can do it.
Well, yeah, in
do it more
'24,
over
you
time.
also got some ARPA money for a salary for a specialist, 47,400. Is that job, did that job complete, or how are you funding that now? Because that was funded with ARPA money.
What is that?
Unaware of that one.
Came to it.
No,
There's something.
You hired a documents imaging specialist probably to copy everything, is that what you did?
Oh, that was very possible. Yeah, that would have been.
So is she still, or he or she still here, or was that a temporary?
That wasn't. That wouldn't have been directly through us. That would have been
It should have just been included in
included
that,
in the other part. That's
that
part of
whole-
the scanning project.
that
That
whole
would have
well,
been
the
a
scanning
salary.
project was funded in '22. This
Yeah,
specialist
this is-
was added in March of '24.
If I recall, I'm trying to remember here, Jeff, I think you and I were, so, I think you guys started with one vendor at a certain price. I think the ARPA grant was awarded, and then I think there was some issue, whatever, you guys ended up going with a different vendor, but they were cheaper, or?
our last cyber attack. So yeah, so initially when we did the ARPA funds, the provider that we had, COT Services, suffered a cyber attack in end of 22. Correct? Yeah.
It's the end of 22. Yeah.
And we identified the problem last quarter of '22, and we were gonna rectify it and switch. And right when we switched, that's when they got hit. And I think that contract is just reflecting probably what Casey is saying, that it went from being put into the COT vendor and then into the DTS vendor. So it just, instead of going there, it went to that vendor, and I think it just reflected probably.
Yeah, our viewpoint obviously isn't as detailed as that. We're just looking for people
in the end,
and
that-
stuff that was added during COVID with the ARPA money and the government money
Right.
It
that we all
did the
knew
same.
wasn't gonna last forever. So the question is, how do we get back to where we were before the ARPA money? And if we've hired staff, we have to,
It was just all for that vendor for that whole process. It was
Okay.
just a clean going from
Yeah, that was just a
scanning the
temporary-
books and then into the whatever system we were using, so.
because that's one of the things that doesn't show here is that, especially Commissioner Moore has been working hard on it, is looking at employment levels for all the different departments and electeds. Where were we before COVID? Where has it been since then? And how do we, maybe that'll give us a pathway to getting back to where we were, because
Sure.
Yeah.
government doesn't do a good job of,
Do a good job of hiring, just not,
yeah, they do a good job of hiring,
Growing,
they don't
but
do a
not
good job
reducing.
of reducing,
yeah, there
Well,
we
you
go.
guys did, not fill a position that vacated, correct?
We did. Yeah. We
Right.
did
Is that reflected in these
there's-
numbers?
That's.
So, yeah, we had a position that vacated, and we were actually looking at hiring, right after COVID, we hit a cliff, and our document numbers dropped in, right after 22, so 23, 24, we were still on that cliff, and now we're on the uptick back again. At
Okay.
that same time, we went to a new system, so we decided with the downtime and the new system, it wasn't worth bringing that new employee on. We were thinking about it this year, but we were aware that of the possible cuts, so we've been hanging on it, not bringing in that.
So you guys went from 1.8 million in total revenue to 1.3 during COVID, so you lost about a half a mil. Looks like here, and so you really haven't fully recovered in revenue collection, it says, based on this, right? Does that sound about right?
Um,
'Cause I would think you guys
we-
would have been done a lot better than you did here.
Maybe you could speak to the split, that fee,
Oh, is that what happened?
There's a,
Yeah, I was looking at
your
that.
fee, there's a portion that goes towards the equipment fund, there's a portion that went, and so I think over the last few years, there's been an adjustment to that.
Yeah,
is
so
that-
21, I mean, was definitely spiked because of COVID. I mean, those were, we did almost 62,000 documents that year. And what I budget on is about an average of 40,000 documents.
Okay.
And so 22, we did 47,000, then 23, we were down to 37, 24 was 38,000. This year, again, like I said, we're on that uptick of hitting that average of 40,000. So we're,
So that's about normal, is 40?
yeah.
yes, at 40,000 is about the average. That 2021 was huge with, if you remember, the interest rates were, what, 2%?
That was pretty much free money.
And everybody was just refinancing because it didn't make sense not to. So,
Yeah, that was a 15, I think 2008 is what I go back to just to run my audit to try and get that average.
2018.
Well, I use 18 as my base, but yeah, 2008, we went back.
So
ran
your
the-
vendor, DTS, how much do you pay them a year?
They are
quarterly?
17 a quarter.
17 a quarter?
Yep.
And that comes out of this recorder's equipment fund?
It does.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on I'm gonna come right back to the fact, you're sitting on, 640,000 as of October 31st. You know, so you're looking at, 80,000 a year comes out for your vendor. What do you wanna do with the rest?
We,
I mean, do you guys have any other purchases you're thinking of? I mean, how much can you help us out with our protection, our protection
right.
for you?
So like, what can we
Yeah.
throw into Conversant is the essential question. Like, what kind of, like,
You guys can think about it,
Yeah.
get back with KC.
yeah. so
That's
we
kinda
can-
what we're really,
Okay.
This is just
Oh, we're
questions and
yeah,
answers
yeah.
so that we could
Yeah.
try and get to some kind of middle understanding, but, you know, within a couple, 3 weeks, then we're gonna wanna turn those ideas into numbers.
Right.
And those numbers are based off of those fees collected off of per document. So everything we collect, half of it goes to Ohio Housing Trust, the other half is split. We take, I think we're doing $6 a document right now, and then you guys are getting the remainder, so.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is what's a
the
reasonable
county.
reserve? I mean, having a $630,000 or $640,000 reserve in that fund, and you're spending 80,000 a year, that number
So,
seems a little high. And
the-
that's what I look at, is
Right.
how long are you gonna carry over? And is that balance gonna get bigger year after year?
So ultimately, the balance shouldn't be getting much bigger year after year. The reserve that we were trying to be around is about that $500,000. And that's more of a, hey, if something were to happen again to the system, that we needed to go ahead and like do that, we were looking into around in some places it has cost that amount to actually be able to get back to normal if you're hit with something really bad. But we've also had things put in place to prevent us from getting hit that really bad. So,
and remember,
can-
that's what we're doing too, is
Yeah.
protecting
Yeah.
you,
right.
so we don't get hit real bad.
Yeah, exactly,
So-
exactly.
So,
We're just asking you to go back and look at your numbers and
Yeah.
yeah,
see what you can do for us. I mean,
Okay.
the bottom line is we don't wanna make drastic cuts. That's
Right,
the key
right.
thing.
Yeah.
We can all keep within the budget, and move forward. That's the greatest thing we can ask for.
do you guys
Yeah.
use this account to offset or any of your salaries of your 10 employees?
No,
We do not at the moment, no.
Okay.
no, that's our
Well-
operating, all of our operating costs, so copy machines,
Where, out of this one? Out of the,
computers, our veterans, yeah, everything out of that tech fund, including the vendor services.
but you still receive about $1 million a year in revenue.
Yeah, this year, we're estimating at 249 in revenue. We're estimating to get back to the general fund. Just out of that alone is almost 1.2 that we're paying.
That you're generating for the general fund.
Yeah, so
Yep.
essentially, without taking in the administrative fee for Ohio Housing Trust, our
Right.
copy department fees all go to the general fund. Just off those fees collected alone, we're averaging from '08 to '24, I got about 1.2 million is what we're averaging, putting back in just off those fees collected.
And the administrative fee that he mentioned for the Ohio Housing Trust Fund, that's just everything we give to them, we're allowed to pull back 1%. So we pull back that 1% and don't give it to them, we just don't touch it, it just goes back to the general fund, where we don't have a separate account to do anything with that. It's just part of the fee for us as the county administering it, so we just leave that.
So instead of sending them money and getting it back, you send them 99% of what it is?
Yeah, we send them 99% and keep
Okay.
the rest of it just stays in the general fund.
You know, Jeff, you mentioned, that you keep $6 and you guys get $11, so.
So I mentioned, yeah, the county, I corrected myself, but yeah, the county would get the remainder of the fee. So if it's a $34 document, 17 goes to Ohio Housing Trust, and then the remainder would be split between our $6 for our operating
Okay.
and then the general fund directly. And that amount there is where I'm giving you that number.
And this $1 million that comes back, where's that reflected in the spreadsheet?
Right here,
Under the general fund revenue.
right
Okay.
here. And then this is special. That's their special and that's their
Right.
general.
So on that topic, like I said, and if any budget issue, there's two ways to skin a cat. You either spend less or you bring in more. So I'll just throw this out there as another alternative, as opposed to, and again, I'll leave it up to your guys' discretion, how you guys think is best to attack it. But one option is to pay more for Conversant out of the equipment fund. Another option would be to, whether it be temporary or permanent, would be to adjust that split of
The recording?
that recorder fee. So Jeff, you mentioned it's 6 and 11, is that what it is?
$6 collected.
So I
off
mean,
of
so
these.
that would
Or
be
is it 6
another
and 9?
alternative. We could adjust that back, so they'd be helping out the general fund via
More.
revenue, as opposed to reducing costs, they would potentially be contributing more. Like I say, 'cause that's what, in the general fund revenue, in addition to the COVID spike, there's also been some adjustments to that
Split.
split. You
But,
guys
yeah.
have voted to
Right,
change that.
but they
split.
also, I think you requested at one time to increase. Didn't you guys request?
Right,
it?
right, that's what's happened.
What
The
what's-
equipment fund fee got increased, so there
Right.
more started being sent to that special revenue
Mhm.
cash balance.
That's okay.
Okay.
So.
But I also
this one
thought you
as an
wanted,
alternative.
but didn't you want an increase overall in the recording fee at one time, or no?
No.
Oh, there's
No,
a.
it's like 3 years ago, probably be.
Right.
I remember that, but wasn't it? And we said, nah.
That was premising a question I had. How are
No.
our fees compared to other
Well, no, I
counties
think
throughout
you
the
asked for an
state?
increase at one time.
Yeah,
We
that's
said
just,
no.
that was to change the split, I think it was.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
then we
wouldn't
just
affect the
kept everything
overall-
as it
wouldn't
was.
affect the overall fee that the end user paid. It would just affect how the revenue was divvied up.
So right,
I appreciate your perspective, but I look at the split as something that, I don't think we should fool with that on a frequent basis. If we see a long-term trend, it certainly would mandate that we adjust it going forward if it's being lopsided one way or the other. But the balance that's in the equipment fund, if we could determine, some kind of a number that,
it's consistent.
Yeah.
that we could use for
Budgeting purposes.
Yeah.
right, because you're gonna add to that every year. The question is, we certainly don't wanna see it grow, and if we can use some of that money today to get through this hurdle we're in.
Right. Yeah, so I think what I'm getting out of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it would make sense for all of us that we put some into Conversant, considering that we're using them and going forward, and we just need to figure out what that number needs to be, what makes sense
Very
on
good.
our end and what makes sense.
Well,
on
you're
their
right
end.
on, Mike, because we took ARPA dollars
Yeah,
and and got Conversant to build the plan. So they
Right.
built the infrastructure for the cybersecurity, but there's annual maintenance to that cybersecurity. You know, somebody, we're not watching the bad guys, they are.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and
Which
they
is
have
how
to
they
keep,
caught-
and they have to keep on track of what the next new thing is, whether it's, you know,
Right.
Anubis or something else that's coming out, what the next hot thing's gonna be tomorrow, and how that's gonna affect us, and how it's just a cat and mouse game. You know, they come by, as soon as we figure out how to block what they're doing, they find another way to figure out how to do it.
well, the argument
Well,
is.
those guys all go to the same computer school.
Yeah, in Russia. The bottom line here is it's about low-hanging fruit for these
Right.
guys. And if we continue to make it difficult for them,
Yep.
then they're gonna find some other low-hanging fruit like Cleveland. So
Yeah.
I don't think they've still recovered. That was 3 or 4 years ago.
Don't
Oh,
even
no,
move to
there's-
Cleveland.
No.
No, there's another county in the state that got hit on
Oh.
Friday with something.
Oh,
and they're-
Friday.
And they've been down since.
Oh, no, we all,
No,
We
kudos,
lived it.
kudos that came, you know, the Conversant was just on deck when I got here
Yeah.
in '23. But as the commissioner said, there was so little cooperation that Conversant
everybody.
actually came, one of my first, executive sessions, they came and just said, we're stealing your money.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're not
we-
asking, you're not working.
You're not
us
giving us what we need to do, we gotta do, so.
to protect you. Yeah.
We had to start,
Twisting arms, I
to
guess.
quote Top Gun, kicking some butts.
Okay. So basically, I don't know, it's probably gonna be you guys working with KC.
Right.
See, cause we're gonna be meeting with all the other, there's our agenda.
Right,
All
right.
the others, and we're gonna be asking them the same type of questions. What can you do to help mitigate these costs?
Yeah.
Over here? And then once we get all these numbers and see where we're at, how close are we? And we're looking at our own budget and where we're gonna have to cut. and
Right.
Trim,
So
so.
we're trimming.
Yeah,
We've
well,
been
yeah,
trimming.
yeah, so, I don't know, do you guys have any other questions, or?
I don't.
Oh.
I thought the conversation's been good for me.
Okay,
Same here.
All right.
okay, well, thanks.
Thanks for your time.
Great.
Thanks for
That's
coming
good.
in.
Thanks for
Thank you.
calling it, and
I'll see ya.
Question?
Okay, tune us out. We're on pause until the coroner gets here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the camera.
Well, we're,
And I'm Marty. Nice to meet you.
this is November 19th, budget work session for the coroner. Hopefully Casey's coming over.
Hopefully Casey comes in. If not, we'll see. What we did is we kind of went back to 2021 and took a look at everybody's spending. That's kind of what we're looking at right now. And revenue that you, any revenue that you do get. Let's see, state grants, professional services, you guys don't, let's see, you guys don't really bring in too much revenue,
No, we,
so that's good.
the only thing I can really charge for is autopsies at the prisons.
Okay.
So it's, a couple $1,000 once or twice a year.
Dr. Miller, can you take that microphone by you and push
Do I
it
need to
that
do the
way
same
towards you?
thing?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
But yeah, the only real revenue we have is, autopsies done for the, prison system.
okay. We're all done. Just kidding.
Good, how are you?
So what we did is we went back to 2021, and then if you notice in 2025, everybody's budgets got, we allocated all the healthcare from the county commissioners to the, which we used to pay for all the healthcare, but we really didn't have a real feel for the expenses of each and every office and department. And so that's kind of what we did, but to compare apples to apples, on the form we just gave you, what Casey did was kind of went back to 2021, and you'll see 2025's budget. And below it, you'll see the actual costs of healthcare within your office, so.
It's extremely minimal because we have a very small staff and,
Mhm.
And I don't take healthcare.
yeah.
Which is
I
good.
did notice that.
Yeah. So. Okay, so I'm just taking a look. Can we put that, oh, they got it on the screen right now? Okay, good. That's what we're looking at. Has it been, how long has that been up there?
I just put it up right before
Okay.
you said it.
Okay, I'll just move it around just to irritate people at home watching, so. I see what you're doing. Okay, screenshot it if you're at home, and good luck, and you can turn it off there, Teresa, and we'll come back to live. Did you see, he dropped this off for us? So I don't know if I haven't had time to look at that either, and they haven't had time to look at ours.
It's only larger for us
To
that,
read?
that need to be able to see
It
it.
looks like it's the same, yeah, there's no
Okay.
change, it looks like it's matches what they.
Yeah, I just, I
Easier to
cut
read.
off,
Mhm.
the years before and made it more current.
So, just so those are following this, when I said earlier in the recorders meeting, they actually receive a lot of revenue, and everybody will look at that, they'll look at those financials and say, oh, look at, here we go. You know, they bring in 1.3 and they spend 1.3. Well, that's not how government works. As I explained, other government entities don't receive any revenue, and that's what the general fund's for, to help fund, departments such as yours. And so, at least that's what I wanted to see in regards to some of these services. You guys, let's see.
The
you guys-
lab services are the ones that have
Yeah.
been hit real hard.
We also have a state reimbursement that we keep up to speed with, supplying the state with whatever, information they need to justify what will be reimbursed.
So how much you get, where's that at on here?
All the way down to the bottom, general fund revenue,
Right down there?
yeah, it looks like there's a state grant there.
Well, that's only about 45,000?
Right. It's, yeah, the state has in the state budget $1 million for all 88 counties
That's
to do
it?
toxicology.
Wow.
And so we get a fractional share, so.
48 seems like a good number. 48 seems like a good number if you
Yeah,
have
well, we're
88
one of the bigger
counties.
counties. Some,
We have to
some,
submit all of our cases that were accidental overdoses and the toxicology reports and lots of other information that they base their reimbursement amount to us on.
It's specifically, targeted towards those, you said accidental overdoses, is that the main?
Yeah, that's the main,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, the purpose-
ingredient
yeah,
to the
purpose of the funding is
reimbursement. Yeah.
drug overdose.
So that's
drug
probably how the
testing.
opioid money is dispersed too, I would imagine.
I get
Yeah.
zero of that.
Yeah, I can see that. That's why you guys keep accurate records and,
Although it looks
Yeah.
like it goes back maybe prior to some of those opioid settlements, it goes back to
Yeah.
21, maybe probably.
Yeah, I
How long has
had,
that been around, that
I-
grant?
I think it's maybe in its third biennial budget cycle.
Okay.
but I did a different grant before that
Right.
I tried to do, and it ended up being, not cost efficient. It was taking more time to supply them with what they
Yeah.
were requiring to, give money for, and, it decreased every single time, and by the time
Yeah.
I ducked out, it was costing more to supply them with the things they needed than
Yeah.
what we were getting.
Yeah, that was the share of the Coverdell fixed grant that comes down from the Attorney General, but because it's a half a share and it's split through the entire state, it was getting very small. This is Ohio budget money that's $1 million a year in the biennial budget, but again, it's split 88 ways and divided by the number of drug tests you do, so Cuyahoga gets a lot more money than we do from that fund, so.
Okay, because we look at from 21 to 26, averaging about 3%, and they're at 23 as an increase, so I don't think they're way.
They're pretty bare
Yeah, I
bones
know you are.
guys.
I know you are.
they're
Compared
probably
to
the
some of
big,
these other
big
ones we're
increase.
seeing, it's like pretty excessive.
Yeah.
And the
it's-
reason why is we're concerned at the COVID years, where people hired a lot of people,
Yeah.
and now those COVID dollars are gone. But you guys don't seem to be.
We toughed
I
it
don't
out.
have that.
Yeah, I know you
stat.
toughed it. I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marty. I
And
didn't
looking
know.
though, like their lab service, professional services, those are the things that were the significant increase.
Yeah.
And that can very easily get close to that 23%.
Right. So.
And those are outside services, correct?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a contractor that does my toxicology, who will be increasing rates in the January, I'm certain, and, cause they did last year too.
In UH.
And in university hospitals, we've switched, it's now billed by the university hospital's billing system, so the bills run, we just got the bill for July,
5,000.
yeah, so, it's gonna run way behind. And we're gonna be paying 2025 UH services well into 2026, cause we also have to do corrective bill corrections with them sometimes. So.
We were on a flat fee.
Yeah.
It's not
and-
completely clear what the new fee will come
Yeah,
to.
we're not
so,
certain what it's gonna
yeah.
be. It's a,
Yeah.
flat fee was very nice because
Yeah.
we knew exactly the number of autopsies that.
You could budget
Yes.
easier. Yeah.
But
Okay.
now it is not.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, are you guys, have you sourced out other vendors, because of that significant increase,
No.
just to make sure that they're competitive, or is there other vendors?
No,
For-
no other vendor.
Well, for toxicology, we've done price comparisons with NMS, the other leader in the field, many times, and they're more expensive.
Okay.
So this is the least expensive toxicology that provides adequate services.
How many employees do you have?
What do we have,
9 including you.
Yeah. Me and 8 employees.
8. I'll put 8
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Because the way that's spread out, it's like you're.
Yeah.
And the employees. Okay.
You're definitely running lean.
Mm-hmm.
It is. We really need what we asked for. Plus,
Yeah.
at the beginning, before we even submitted it in May,
Yeah.
you asked us to be as lean as we could be, and this is it.
Oh,
We appreciate it.
Yep. Most of my asks from everybody that's coming in is seeing how much revenue they're generating, if there's any way they can share services with us, with our internet and HR, stuff like that. But you guys don't really have too much revenue to share, so.
Yeah, I'm looking, I
Do
looked
you-
at the
is
internet
one of your
already.
employees, you guys, because are you using our HR at all to help you, or no?
No.
You guys have your own HR person, or no?
We
That's
just.
me.
Or you
we
do
just
that?
ourselves.
We-
Because one of the things we're trying to do is, with all the policies, procedures,
Yeah.
trying to centralize everything to protect everyone so that we're all consistent with HR. So if our department can help you alleviate some of those, you'll do the boarding still if you do any. I don't think you guys have turnover with only 8, do you? I mean,
It's
No,
very
we-
rare.
yeah,
no,
sure.
We're pretty much staying where we are.
Okay, well, that's kind of what we're looking at, is trying to at least consolidate anything that we can help mitigate some of your costs, that's all.
Well, one of the things too is with like the HR is we want, as a county, we're looking to keep every office consistent on the core of HR. You know, like if there's a discipline procedure or something like that, we all are on the same page. Like we don't have, 10 or 15 different HR departments doing different things on the core. But obviously you do your own HR internally, and and the same thing goes with our IT services. I don't know, yours looks like it's so minimal that you guys are using on it based on what I see here.
But are you within our protective fort with your servers and whatever? Are you guys separate because of what you do?
We're separate.
We're just now meeting with, county IT about the new
Okay.
regulations.
Okay, good.
We basically only use commercial products. We literally only have a Google Drive and a Hotmail account.
Well,
Okay.
see, this is where coming in within our protective,
Right.
we don't want somebody to backdoor come in
Yeah.
through maybe a Google
Yeah.
account.
Yeah.
And, I guess.
If you're talking to IT, that's very important to
Yeah, as long
us.
as you're communicating
Yeah,
with them,
and-
then.
Absolutely.
yeah,
And they'll
that's-
give us feedback because we just don't want another cybersecurity breach again.
Yeah.
No, they're part,
Yeah.
we're part of the group and we intend to
Great.
meet the minimum. So,
Okay. Yeah, this one, I knew this one would be short.
So-
It is
so
every year, so.
Don, if you could, like I said, over the salary, if you could just take a look at those figures, and obviously not right now, but when you have a chance, because like I said, based on the current salary, it looks like we projected out, looks like the salary this year will come right around 525, so a little bit under what the requested budget was this year. So, and then project that out with the pay increases. The salary looks like we project that out to be around 540, 550 next year. So if you could take a look at, just double check the salary figures under the employees.
We have a very limited staff, as
Mhm.
I said.
It's like part-timers mostly.
No,
They're all
no,
full.
they're all full-time, except for.
Oh, I'm
Jack.
sorry, I was looking at the healthcare costs.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
Well, that's because I have 3 guys
Right.
that are single,
right, that's why.
so we're saving a ton of money there.
20,000 on each one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was salaries. I was like, oh, wow, they're part-time. I'm
Could
like,
I
nope.
staff this office with more people and, have it be an easier task for each of us? Yes. But, we really have our act together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, like,
Pretty doggone well-oiled, and so we're kind of rewarded
Right.
by not having additional people that
Right.
will also cost
Yeah.
health insurance.
yeah, I'm not questioning the amount of staff or anything. Like, I just, based off the current rates that are being paid, when we projected that out and did the calculations, looked like by the end of this year, the total salary for the employee line is gonna come out. The ask was 560 this year. It looks like it's gonna come closer to 525, 530 this year.
Yeah, I think I'm
So-
gonna have $37,000 left.
Yeah, so that's why I say, if you could just double check those figures, because if we project that into 2026,
Yeah.
if your projections were based off your ask as opposed to what was actually spent, there might be a little bit of savings there as well. It's,
Well, let me also say that, we may need to, since our population is increasing, we may need to add, a pathologist. And that could be at any given time because we are such an unpredictable, scenario here. We have no idea how many people are going to die, of course, how many people are going to need autopsies. And we've handled over 1,000 cases this year, and we still have a month and a half to go. So, so probably not.
We'd like you to cut that number back.
I don't think they have a choice on that.
No, we're on track.
No, I was joking.
Drug ODs dropped by half last year, so
Have
we
they?
went down to like 400 cases. And,
Oh, really?
So we're probably gonna do another 400 this year and another 800 phone calls about cases we don't take jurisdiction on. About 1,200 deaths a year.
Wow.
Should hold steady. Goes up with the population, of course, because of the percent of population. But we're on track to have kind of an average year, lower than 2023 when the drug ODs were much higher. So.
but very unpredictable. We
Yeah.
just need what we
Right.
ask
Yeah.
for, and we'll give
Yeah.
back what we don't use.
And, you know, of course, extra to my budget would be like a mass fatality. That could cost
Right.
millions of dollars, and it's not in my budget, but
Right.
that'll be through disaster declaration and all that. So, yeah.
Hopefully not, so,
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
okay. Well, any questions for us? Are you guys good?
We're good.
I knew it'd be really,
That's our request.
I knew it'd be, short and sweet, so.
Keep lean and mean like you
Yeah,
are.
yeah, well,
It's lean.
okay, well, thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Sure.
We spend what we need, and that's what we need. Okay, yeah, somebody gave me a folder. here.
Okay, you can
This is
stop
just-
this recording.
It's only
Do we have one that looks like this?
Wait a minute. Budget work session.
Oh, this- oh, I'm
has
sorry.
Started with the Lorain County Treasurer.
Yeah, what this is, we had Casey put together a spreadsheet from going back to 2021,
Okay.
and that's what we did. So we're just gonna be kind of going over that, and then hopefully if there's any questions afterwards, we can go back and forth and,
I think the added
Yeah.
piece, like I said, this is similar to the budget you already fill out. The added pieces are down below. We added, you know, the revenue, the general fund revenue, and then also the special revenue cash balance as well. Those are the new pieces that are added to this.
and at the top, you'll notice what we did in 25 is we added everybody's, healthcare to each and every, office and that. But we also backed it out to show, so that we could still compare apples to apples from 2021, so that we know, you know, what your healthcare costs are per year. So 2026, when we do this next November, there'll be a very solid document showing you, what the actual cost per employee is going to be. So we kind of have it in here, but it's not fair to compare 2021 when you say, oh, you had this spike of, you know, $500,000. Well, that's because we added healthcare to you, so. So this is what the budget, it's like a 26, percent increase in 2021. But what we're kind of looking at is the revenue that is generated from the, from your office. And we're looking at the special revenue accounts too. So that's kind of what we're looking at. You had about your real estate tax escrow money, looking at that, delinquent tax accounts. That's kind of where we want to kind of focus some of the discussions today.
I think that's a good place to, I
Yeah.
don't want to step on your toe, but good place to start is, Dan, maybe you could educate both ourselves and the public.
Yeah.
With the delinquent tax fund as well as the real estate tax escrow, the purpose of those,
Yeah.
special revenue funds, allowable uses of those funds.
Well, the
what-
DRETAC is where we can hire people to go get delinquent taxes, period. And then some of the money with the delinquent taxes, if you recall, goes to the land bank. And then we also receive 5% that we split with the prosecutor that we use when we have, well, obviously we need the prosecutor. So that's the monies that we get.
And the allowable uses of those funds are purely for that staffing, or are there other
It's
allowable
for the
uses?
it's for the staffing and anything that we
So to
need to
support them.
buy or whatever for to, collect taxes, delinquent taxes.
So it's,
We send out a third billing. We do not have to. We do a first half, second half, and the third half we do is like your last chance, where you, basically what it comes down to. Because after people do not pay their taxes by the second half, the auditor may publish their name in the paper. We give them a chance not to. A lot of times people don't really care, but they get the idea that they're gonna get their name published in the newspaper, they get up here a lot faster. That's what the delinquent.
so at the end of the year, in 21, 2, 3, and 24, you had about averaging about 3.5, 3.7, but now you had a $1.6 million reduction. Do we know why it went down to 2? Was there expenses?
This is the first time I've
no, I know.
seen this,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't necessarily.
And some of that could be timing as well. Like, I don't know if there's end of year,
Oh,
because this is the 2025 figures based on of
project.
October, end of
Oh,
October.
end of October 31.
Where all these other ones are typically end of the year. So it could be a timing issue. I don't know for.
You mean
for
how
sure.
much money we've collected?
For
No.
the real estate tax, the cash balance in that escrow, specifically in that escrow fund. The real estate tax escrow fund.
There's two funds, delinquent taxes and a real estate tax escrow.
The escrow is that it's a monthly payment.
Okay, so
that
that's
we
why it's
receive.
So it's
probably,
probably a timing issue. Why that-
Okay, that's why.
That's the end of 25 versus this was the end of 24, which is a factual number. That would be a guesstimated
Guess,
number.
well, not even guesstimate, they haven't collected,
They haven't collected it, period.
November and December and, probably October. Okay. So that money, what's that money for? What are you allowed to use that money for?
Which one?
The real estate tax escrow?
The rescue,
The escrow.
Yeah.
the
That
escrow
8,004.
goes in, it's regular real estate. What happens is people can pay once a month for 10 months.
Oh, so instead of paying semi-annually?
No, yeah,
But
we
this
have,
isn't-
we have a program.
So
and
this
then
isn't revenue for the government, this is revenue, oh no, they're paying taxes?
No, this is just
It's a
the
real-
escrow
It's
account.
just money coming
Yeah.
in.
That's an
It's just-
escrow
It's
account.
held in
Yeah.
escrow.
That's not just that's not extra money that they're
No,
sitting
no,
on.
but this is property taxes coming in.
What happened is after 5 months, we said people can start paying in October.
Right.
And then when January comes around, they have to pay everything up by February.
Okay.
You can do it 5 times, you could do it twice, 3 times. And once we get back for February, we're gonna close the collection. That money, the escrow money is moved into the real estate. And then it
That's a
pays off the
disbursement
tax.
So for our purposes today,
Yeah.
of what we're talking about, that money, like, I wouldn't even worry, I
So
wouldn't
that-
even focus on that
So
money.
that's
That
not
money
even-
is not.
So it shouldn't really be on here, cause this is really part of the revenue that comes in overall
But
on
this
the
is-
property taxes.
This is just a grab of all the special revenue funds that are technically under the treasurer. So,
Okay.
but for the purposes of what I think what you're getting
But
at,
I'm-
I would ignore the escrow, yes. So that's not money that we can really
Well,
touch or do anything with. That's-
It all ultimately lands in that 8,002 account. It's just a temporary holding account until we roll those funds.
So they disperse it to all the necessary accounts.
right, at that point. Okay, so what about the delinquent tax account? How much of that, 'cause it's about, looks like it's been around, well, it was 600, 670, 820, 830, 973 is what currently is for 25, which means it could probably go up even more to $1 million. How much of that stays in delinquent account? 'Cause it looks like you have a carryover of about, 600 to 700 a year. So like you say, money goes to the land bank, goes to the prosecutor, how much? You have a carryover, it looks like how much you like to always keep in
I
there.
honestly couldn't tell you right now.
No, you always
I
keep,
don't.
well, for the last 5 years, it's been 600 to 800,000 is a carryover.
And that goes into the account.
Yeah,
It would go into the account.
every year, stays in, but
Correct.
you issue money out of that account then to land bank and to prosecutor to use that to
Well,
pay
we
for.
don't, but it goes, well, the auditor, we don't give anybody any money.
This is after the split. So this is specifically so
So after the splits, this is what's left.
correct. This is
Okay.
this
And
is the
that
treasurer's.
sits
So
there.
before it goes in there and that money sits in there, right?
No, the auditor. So
You know what I mean? I
the
mean,
auditor brings in a chunk, and then from there it's split. Okay, treasurer gets this portion, land bank gets this
Yep.
portion, prosecutor gets this portion.
Correct.
So the figure you're seeing here is after the split. So this is
treasure money.
right. This is the
And-
money that's coming to Dan
so-
in his office.
Okay, and so the,
That sits out there in case that someday that we don't collect taxes. Right now, we basically are collecting about 20 million a year. What would happen is if we'd go down to only go 15, we wouldn't have enough. We need that extra money that in case, you know, we'd run, believe it or not, if everybody would pay their taxes, then we couldn't fund delinquent anymore.
right,
So it's kind of a reserve.
Yes,
yeah, but,
that's exactly,
so,
but that's,
so the question is, what's an acceptable reserve? That's what we're trying to get at.
well, I don't know how to take that out and give it to some, have it
I'm not
go
asking,
someplace
no,
else.
I'm trying to figure out what we can use that money for. It sounds like we can use it to help with the collection of real estate taxes, which is the prosecutor's office, the delinquency, right? And it's also used for land bank, cause a certain amount of money
Correct.
goes to the land bank.
That's according in the ORC. I don't believe,
I don't know how
You
much,
can take
that's what
that.
I'm trying to figure out, you know, what's the allowable expenses from the ORC that we can use? For example, we're trying to figure out how to use certain revenue funds to cover some of the breaches that we've been getting from IT to offset and to protect maybe your office and, to help mitigate some of those breaches that have come. That's what we're trying to find out, you know, it's that kind of stuff.
as far as I know, that's needed to do delinquent real estate.
Well,
Now, if we
that's-
don't have any real estate soon, then we won't.
That's, I mean,
There
if we
you
don't have
go.
any real estate tax, then this is all moot. But that won't be till 27, 28, if that does pass, so.
Well, and we're also getting ready to change software programs. So we don't know what kind of upcoming expenses might be affiliated with that conversion.
Let me ask you this question then, if you're changing, are you guys under the umbrella of Conversant? Are you guys on standalone and island, or were you?
We piggyback onto the auditor.
That's what I was afraid of. Let me ask you this, how much money do you guys are spending on, you got contractual services and professional services listed here. You're at about 115,000 is your ask budget, you did 105,000, last year.
That's postage.
Okay, so where's your internet expenses? I don't see it in here, so where would that come from? Would it come out of this delinquent or the account?
Oftentimes, we go through our general fund money, so we have to rely on some of those DRETAC monies to satisfy our obligations through the end of the year.
Okay, so that's what you do then?
Mhm.
I didn't think you could use that tax, the delinquent tax to help
But
fund.
delinquent tax is for
Well,
collecting
tax, isn't that,
delinquent.
is that short for delinquent tax, I thought?
But by the time that we go through end of the year money, those monies that are left outstanding are considered delinquent at that point. So those are monies that we utilize to bring in those delinquent charges, like Dan said, during our third billing.
Oh, so when you get another push of money coming in from the third bill, you
Correct.
use that money?
See, we don't have to do that, but we do to try to, and
Well, it's
normally we
cheaper than-
collect,
yeah.
we collect, millions after that.
So I'm just curious, so you have your general account, but like we have contract services, professional services, there's nothing there designated for the IT stuff?
Your computer work? You're saying you're piggybacking the auditor?
We have a couple of his employees are like part-time employees for us, and that, they're not a full, treasurer. They're not getting paid under delinquent, we're paying out a general fund to work with us, instead of hiring somebody for 80 hours, they help us out, that's what happens.
So you're using your
General
budget,
fu-
general
general.
fund money to help mitigate the cost in the auditor's office, because you're using like shared services to help,
Correct.
okay?
Is that done through like a reimbursement, or is the payroll, when payroll takes the salary out, is there like a set, like they take 50% from you guys, 50% from you guys, or
Or do you guys
from the
just give
auditor?
them 15?
I believe
Or-
it's 8 hours,
Okay.
8 hours.
So it's already, it's
each pay.
preset, so when the
Correct.
payroll is processed, they know to take this much, okay. It's
8
not,
hours
you don't
time.
get an invoice from the auditors and say,
No.
okay.
It's like a part-time.
Okay, let me go back to, so what's the general fund ask is 648, Casey, is that what they ask? Or 624? No, 624 was last year. Or is it
961 is,
961
including
with-
hospitalization, 961 is
healthcare.
the ask this year.
And so how many employees then, not counting the auditor's office, I mean, how many are directly, well, let me ask you this, on this, we're showing that we're spending a certain amount of money on employees in your office, but I'm wondering, does that include the auditors? Or is that-
No,
okay,
not at
so
all.
that's- so-
Well, except for those two.
The 8 hours a week, or 8 hours pay, or what it
Pay.
is. 8 hours of pay.
Which is a week. Oh, no,
Would be,
which is
would be
4 hours
lumped
a week.
into that employee line.
So it would be, so you don't, so how many employees do you, okay, how many employees
Last
do you
year,
really
we
have?
had 13.
Okay, but they don't count the 2 that you use from the auditors?
We had 11, and not counting, we had 11 people last year, we have 10 currently.
Are you planning on replacing the 11th?
No.
Okay.
So you got
No.
10, not counting the 2 that comes from the auditor, right?
To be perfectly honest, we had 3 people leave at the end of the year, and we have hired 2 others where we had it, but we're not gonna make it go back to 11.
Okay. That's how you're trying to keep your budget within?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, are you utilizing the counties for the staff, the human resources, HR? Are you utilizing anything in the county, or do you have your own person doing HR?
No, we do our own,
Yeah.
You know, one of the things is that we've been trying to kind of create like a core for HR, not doing your HR internally, but a core where we manage shared services, because we do have the person that's degreed in that and very highly skilled in a very good department to, you know, save expenses. We're doing that, but we're not trying to step into the HR in your office. It's, for example, you know, if there's a disciplinary procedure, it's all on the same page. So those are one of the things that we've been focusing quite a bit of our energy on, and you know, we're encouraging, and same with our IT. But apparently you have something going on with the auditor's office at that point. But it's just really to, you know, streamline and save some money for the county. That's all we're looking at. So just to take that into consideration.
Now, do you see, I don't see any way that we can get any revenue in, because they are bringing in all the revenue from property tax and everything else.
I think that's the problem with a lot of these special revenue funds, is
I
they
know.
are very restricted
Oh, yeah.
in what they can be used for.
Well, like we found out with the last meeting we had, we did find out that we did have the ability, everyone's always asking us for general fund money, we're asking everybody for your special revenue money. And that's what we're doing, and we're also doing things such as, the duplication of services, and some of the breaches that we got last year was because everybody had their own IT departments. We spent ARPA funds close to $7 million, and nobody joined us. And so what we're doing is we will be forcing elected officials like yourself and others to say, this is what we want, and if you don't want that, then that's probably where we're gonna have our budget concerns. So just giving you a heads up, this is just a workout, give everybody a heads up where we're heading, and then probably working with Casey, and, you know, maybe you're the boss and running it, I don't know, whoever you wanna talk to, but we need to figure out, and the auditor decided to be the last one to talk to, which is fine. We're gonna see what he has in his budgets, and how we can all be working together under one IT department countywide, one HR department countywide. Doesn't mean we're gonna be doing your onboarding and hiring and firing, but there's policies and procedures, we got too many lawsuits going on, where, one department's not doing, the other office isn't doing the same thing, and it hurts us when we get sued. And so we're trying to get everything consistent, we don't wanna run your office, we just wanna figure out, we were told by My position is clear. We were told by the public, they're not giving us any more money. So we only got the one little pot, and that's what we're trying to do. And one of those things is we spent a lot of money protecting us, and not a lot, and a lot of elected officials did not join in. And they've paid that price, and we're gonna use this as a opportunity to either convince you to come on board, or we're gonna try to figure it out financially. So, how to get everybody on the same page. The thing is not seeing what you're spending on servers. I don't wanna pick your programs that you need to buy. That's not what we're doing. I don't care, as long as it's underneath our fort and it's protected. We're not telling the prosecutor's office what to buy in there. You guys know more what you need to buy when it comes to programs to run your office. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking, I won't say which office, they say, oh yeah, we got a Google account and we're good to go. And I'm like, no, because that's how they get a backdoor in and they can get into us, and so.
We did have a breach already,
Yeah,
so
we
it's,
already, yeah, and I'm like, come on, we used ARPA funds, it wasn't our money, because there's no way today we'd have this protection based on, if we didn't have that ARPA funds, there's no way we'd be protected, not at all, because nobody is gonna say, let's spend that kind of money for security. We didn't have it. But because of that, we did pay for it, we did use it, or we did put it together. We were protected as the county commissioner's office. The clerk of courts was protected. When they tried to breach that, we knew within 11 minutes they were trying to get in there, but that's it. So I'm just giving you a heads up, that's where we're heading. So that's why we're asking the questions that we're asking, to make sure, and I know you run a lean ship, I know you do. I've done
Yeah.
that when I was here 25 years ago, you did, so.
We try.
No,
you know, we're shaving dollars on the county side too, on our general fund. We're hitting every area we possibly
Yeah,
can.
So,
Well, you can only spend what you got.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know, and that's the problem.
That's the tough part.
So, just giving you a heads up, that's kind of where we're heading. I saw the revenue and I thought, oh, great, you got $2 million sitting here. We can go right after that.
Once I saw escrow there,
I know,
was
I
like,
kind of
no.
saw escrow. and I went,
No.
It was Christmas for a moment,
No,
so.
no.
Commissioner, would you like me to put this up so people?
Hate to
Oh,
be
yeah,
the-
put it up for, yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. I forgot.
Dan, Lisa, so essentially you have two standalone departments. The delinquent, those employees, those Tech employees, there's no carryover between the two. Like, you don't have any employees that are split between the two departments?
Not
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay.
Sometimes that's had to happen, but
Okay.
not.
So, I mean, that would potentially be an area where,
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
if there's an employee who's general fund that gets pulled over to the DRETAC for whatever reason,
Right.
that's one area. Maybe we could do some sort of split employee, similar to what you're doing with those otter employees,
Yeah.
like a split, like 8 hours here. If there are any employees that are splitting time between the departments,
That's the
there
kind of
could
stuff
be a
we-
payroll,
That's the stuff we're looking to
a
do.
payroll split there.
To be honest with you, we have 5 people under the general fund and 5 under DTRAC.
Okay.
Now, years ago, when things would be bounced around, sometimes we had to move people in, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
Not yet anyhow.
Well, that's what this was all about, was more, that's why I don't like the word, these aren't hearings, these are workouts, budget workouts, so we can all say, here's where we're at, where are you guys at, and is there a way we can come together? That's what we're looking for. So,
And looking for any way that you guys can shave expenses in areas and bring it back to the table,
Yeah.
so we don't have to make drastic cuts.
Yeah.
That's what it.
well, and that
comes
bottom
down
line
to.
is, the ones we're doing today are really, I hate to say the smallest, but I know you guys are efficient, and I know the recorder's office is small and efficient, you guys are efficient. We did DR, I don't know why we did DR the first one, but that was like, let's take the biggest one and just start out like that, and so that was like, I was hoping to do.
downhill
I was
after
hoping to
that.
do, I was hoping to do you and the recorder first, so I can get my feet wet on this. But I appreciate you coming in.
Okay.
And we just
Thanks,
don't wanna
man.
talk about the probate guy, cause, oh, hey, how you doing, Judge?
Morning.
Oh, my goodness, how'd you sneak in here?
He does that. He's stealth, so might as well move on to the second one. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, you can Okay, they're ready.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
this
kinda
is the
what we're-
budget
that's
work
kinda-
session, November 19th, in probate court.
And we're ahead of schedule, so this is fantastic. So what we did is we prepared Casey put something together in regards to, the last 4 or 5 years on expenses and revenue. That's what we're looking at here, and this is kind of what we're basing everything on. In 2025 and 2026, you're gonna see something, as you saw in here, we, added healthcare to everybody's budget, so that we have a real grasp of the employees. And so therefore, but we still want to compare apples to apples. And that's why you see total personnel expense budget, where, it shows the increases over the time. And I know you came to us, was it 2 years ago? They added, I don't know, you added 1 or 2 employees.
One.
One, was it one? Okay. And, was that to help out with veterans, right? Or was that to do more?
No, that was magistrate.
That's right, okay. So,
I put it up on the screen.
oh yeah, let's put it on the screen so people can screenshot it or whatever and, you know. Yeah, so what we do is we kind of let people see it. That's good. That way they see what we're working off of, so. So some of the things we look at is like the increases in, expenses from, you know, your office was 720,000, now it's up to, you know, 1.4 million is the ask. And so what I'm trying to I'm gonna go right to the chase here. I asked about the veteran services that you provide, because you do a great job with veteran court and everything else. But I'm trying to find out how much time and energy of your staffing is placed on that, because I would like to take, and I'm sure Jacob's watching, he's not gonna like what I'm gonna say, which is, I'd like to take veteran service money that we have to by statute give them, and figure out what your office, what probate does, and like, let's say 20% of the work that you do is veteran service work because of veteran court. So why can't I take that money and give that to you and reduce my general fund expense to you? Is that something we think we could work out? I mean, not today, I'm just saying, is that a path I'm thinking right, or what do you think? I mean,
Well, if you're talking about me specifically, if you look at the budget, my salary for the county is $14,000. My salary has always been $14,000. So, I don't think you can allocate a judge's salary to different.
no, not your
funds.
salary. I'm talking about the staff. You have a staff.
I do have a staff,
Yeah.
and so I have one person on my staff that spends some of her time on the Veterans Treatment Court program.
Right.
The majority of the time that is spent, of the work that is done by a probation officer who works for the general division. I mean, his salary is probably around $70,000 per year, and we do get we get $35,000 on a grant from OMAS. I think they changed their name again.
Who gets the grant? You do, or probate, or the common plea, or?
The grant application is by our Mars board. It used to be me. I sought the grant first. Then OMAS changed the way that they wanted somebody to be the grant recipient instead of the court itself. They wanted the local Adams board or Mars board. Of course, we have to be a Mars board.
Yeah.
Everyone else is an
Adams.
Adams board. And so every year, the Mars board then just makes the new application. I sign it. They send it on. It gets approved. Then we've been approved for $35,000 for several years in a row now. And then that money comes back and then gets deposited into a general fund line item somewhere. I mean, not on the probate court budget. You won't find any of those expenses in the probate court budget.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm looking at over there with regards to probate that we'll be having some fun discussions when it comes up.
Sure.
But I'm just trying to, I'm trying to focus just on what we can do, to mitigate some of our costs and to figure out how I can, if by statute I gotta give veteran services a certain amount of money, and you're providing veteran service court, or you're providing, you know, the court, was it drug court you said, or no,
Veterans Treatment Court.
Treatment court. I'm trying to figure out, instead of me using, or the board using, you know, our general fund to do that, how can I get, if I gotta write that check, how do I figure out how to get that money that it takes you, let's say, I mean, that's not you, it's probably gonna be the probation or common pleas or some, or maybe their court in the general division that I might have to have that discussion with, right? Or do you?
So the probation officer that is assigned to
Yeah.
our court, it's Officer Charles Schaefer. He also has other duties
Right.
for the probation department. So about half of his salary is being paid by this grant. And he is a firearms instructor for the probation department. He's been there a long time. I don't know if he has some kind of senior position or not in the probation department. He does assist other probation officers, and so 100% of his time is not being allocated to the Veterans Treatment Court. I don't know if it's 50%, but if it is 50%, then we are getting that money back from OMAS through the grant.
But if we're only getting 35 of 70, there's still another 30,000 in medical too that we're not getting reimbursed for. So
Okay.
That's the kind of, you know, that's how fine tuned we're starting to get this, because, you know, there's just no money. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, if we have to by laws give money to cover veteran services, and they're the ones that are getting the money, how can I take some of that money and use it to mitigate, you know, those expenses? But if, like, that's what I was trying to find out, how much time and energy. So let's say this one individual is 50%, then we know that's that. But then I don't know about the rest of your staff, if you're doing any more work with the treatment center.
Well, treatment court.
Treatment
court, and we meet twice a month. We meet on a Monday. The treatment team meets from 1 to 2, and there are approximately 10 members on the treatment team. There is the probation officer, is a case manager, the prosecutor, 2 defense attorneys, 1 person from the VA, and he is called a VJO, Veterans Justice Outreach Coordinator. Very important person to have on our team. 1 person from Veteran Service Commission, currently that's Larry Amato. 1 person from Rivian, and then 2 people that work for the probate court, myself and the bailiff, who also participates. We do that, we go over the cases from 1 to 2, and then at 2 o'clock, we meet out in the courtroom, and then the veterans come up to address the court one at a time while they're seated in court. Everybody is in court together, the treatment team. Every veteran who comes into the program is assigned a veteran mentor. And we have, I believe, 5 veteran mentors right now. And there are some additional team members that don't participate in the team meeting. Somebody from Lorain County Community College, and then also it comes once a month. And then Will Jones, also from ODJFS, Ohio Means Jobs, he comes once a month and talks to the guys about employment. So we don't have any probate court functions or that are in our budget that are being applied to the Veterans Treatment Court. So,
You mean,
except for the bailiff, who spends, I don't know, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 hours a month on it. It might be more than that. I mean, I may have told you this before. If you list these employees, bailiff, administrative assistant, court administrator for the Veterans Treatment Court, court administrator for the AOT program, executive director for the Lorain County Volunteer Guardianship Program, guardian, assistant court administrator. I just named 7 different positions in my office. One person does all those jobs, all of them. And to be able to pin down, besides her coming to court, and her name is Jessica Moore. And,
Good name.
yeah.
My daughter's she's not my daughter though.
And
But I noticed in your payroll, you do allocate like 76 hours to one account, 4 hours to another. You kind of divide them up, like Jessica, I think you said. I got 68.8 hours and 11.2 hours to other, maybe, I don't know if they're coming out of other accounts. Is that what you, this is what you gave me?
That employee roster, like, so that's, our, that must, I don't know, that, we don't put that together. That usually comes directly from the,
Oh,
I'm trying to see how those, yeah, it looks like for instance, Darlene Chapman, yeah, it looks like 76 hours towards
76 hours towards,
general fund, and then maybe 4 hours that go towards one of your special revenue
yeah,
funds, so. yeah, it looks
501,
like-
but they don't, but when I look at the special revenue accounts, they're all listed here, but I don't have the numbers, so I don't know which one comes out of what, that's all. Well, you might know, heck, everything's in your head, Judge, you're pretty good at this.
it is, and I would assume that it comes from.
5001
It,
or 5,
is
No,
that the
that's
Indigent Guardianship
20,
Fund?
28 fund 2800.
2800, yeah. Yeah, 1000 is general fund, the 2800, I don't know what that one. And there's a 2840 too, whatever that is.
All right, so I would assume if you look down at the
Yeah.
bottom, there's, the second one down is called the Indigent Guardianship Fund. I would assume
That's 2800.
that that's the
Oh,
fund
is
that
that
it
it?
comes out
Oh,
of.
okay.
2800 is indigent guardian.
Because they provide some additional services. And again, Jessica Moore is the executive director of the Lorain County Volunteer Guardianship Program, and I made a decision to pay that portion of her salary and all the expenses out of the Indigent Guardianship Fund. It's something that we created to serve as a bridge between persons who didn't have a guardianship or didn't have a guardian and another guardianship program. And so the court under, there's a special project fund, I'm trying to see, it's
I see
1,
a co-
2, 3,
This is
4.
comp, legal, res, special, that one there?
The comp, legal, res, vol, guardian.
Oh, there's valid
All right,
guardian. Yeah, I
so
see
that
one.
is funds, the Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries, Adult Guardianship Services. They provide guardianship services to the court for indigent wards.
So
And
are you
they,
talking about children or older adults or?
they're all adults.
Oh, they are?
Just
Okay.
adults. Over the age, I think they will, over the age of 40, but most of them are over the age of 60. These are incompetent adults, but not developmentally disabled. Those persons receive guardianship services through the Advocacy and Protective Services, Inc., which is a nonprofit corporation that is the only one of its type that is provided for under the Ohio Revised Code. And they're based in Columbus, and they, at any one time, they probably have 80 wards in Lorain County. So, and they provide those guardianship services
So
to
who-
us.
So who provides it to you again? Does it come from Job and Family Services? or-
APSI, it's called.
APSI?
Not, it's not APS.
Okay.
It's APS with an I on the end, APSI.
Okay.
Advocacy and Protective Services, Inc. And they are a nonprofit corporation that is headquartered in Columbus. And they are the revised code, it might be revised code 2111.10. I'll double check that, is that there is a corporation that is designated by the state to be the guardian for individual wards that have developmental disabilities, that otherwise don't have somebody to be their guardian. I would say the majority of the developmentally disabled wards, their guardian is a family member.
So where does that money come from?
Well, it comes from the state. It doesn't come, it's nowhere in my budget.
So I know, well, that's kind of where I'm heading here. So all this here, this list that we have that shows at the bottom, shows that your carryover total is about $2 million a year.
Yes.
That's been averaging $2 million a year. You have the word computerization at the bottom.
Yes.
Is, with us being breached and, the excessive cost now to protect our county, is there any way we can use that to mitigate some of those costs, since you're part of the county? I mean, is there a way we can use that to help with our security?
I would say that we absolutely could look at that. So,
I'll say
Oh,
possible. How's that?
yeah, absolutely. So, we use the county's IT department.
Okay.
We don't have an IT person on staff. I've been very happy with the county's IT department for a long time. Todd Sharkey has been very responsive, but you see those numbers there. You have never gotten a request from me for computers, for upgrades. We just did a courtroom upgrade to the tune of $159,000. We didn't ask you for one penny of that. And the entire time that I've been the probate judge, I have not had a court reporter. I'm the only judge during the entire time period that hasn't had a court reporter. I use a video and audio recording system. The video recording system was installed in 2012, and it has served me well. I've tried jury trials without the benefit of a court reporter. I audio and video record everything. And I figure if you look down at your budget and see that you have another $1.5 million in there, it's because I have not had a court reporter. And that's an added expense over a 16-year period. Easily that would have been averaged out to $100,000 per year for those 16 years. So it's,
with
I
healthcare
would
and
say,
PRS,
and so that's the value of, I mean, you could see it's salaries that cost everything. And I don't have that position, and that system that I installed in 2012, again, I paid for that out of the computerization fund. And I've just paid for it, the reinstallation of that system. The previous company that had provided that system, when I went back to them and started complaining about some of the functions that didn't work on it, they decided that they weren't going to assist me in repairing that system, so we had to go with a new system. And it might be the same folks you use here as AVI. I'm not sure. They're the ones that have done everything. They just completed the system 2 weeks ago. And it's an integrated system with Zoom. We used to have separate Zoom cameras and separate courtroom cameras, and there was no way to integrate them. Well, the fact that the old system quit working, and I guess it couldn't come at a better time, we just integrated those two systems. So now, and that cost $159,000. So we can use Zoom with the cameras, like your cameras here, and use those with Zoom. And we do a lot of hearings on Zoom, and we can use those same cameras to then record everything that's in the courtroom. And if I have a trial and somebody then says, well, I want a transcript of that, instead of us paying for the transcript, I give them a copy, I give them a USB drive and say, here's a copy of it.
Type it up.
Have at it.
Transcribe it.
If you want to watch it, if you want to critique yourself on how you did, then you can do that. And you can do that. Or if you want to see it immediately, we can always, Dropbox it to somebody, those videos. That capability fell off in the last year because of the problems that we had with the system. But now that we have the new system online, we'll go back to being able to do that. And oftentimes at the end of a day, an attorney will say, hey, can I have a copy of that? And say, sure, just hand them a thumb drive. It used to be, we used to make them pay for the thumb drive. We just buy them because they're so cheap now. I mean, you could put an entire video on OneDrive, no problem. That only cost the court less than $10, a couple of bucks. And we think that that's a really good way to save money. Since 2000, with the advent of Zoom, I figure I've done 5,000 Zoom hearings. Easily, I'm doing 20 a week. 0 is the number of defendants, criminal defendants, have been brought back to my courtroom. I used to do the non-supported dependents, and even now on my probate docket, there are people who want to participate who are incarcerated. I don't bring them back anymore. I don't care where they're at. If they're in prison at the Southeastern Ohio Correctional Facility, they attend via Zoom. If they're in prison in Huntsville, Alabama, they attend via Zoom. And it used to be back when I first started, those people all came back to the county, and that was a tremendous burden on the sheriff's department. And so, again, since COVID, and since we have Zoom, not one criminal defendant has been in my courtroom. And I think that that's been a benefit. I know the sheriff's department loves it, that they don't have to go get people, that they don't have to bring people back to the courtroom. I was at a judge's conference recently, and a judge from somewhere, another county, said, I make everybody come to my courtroom. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Zoom has been a great benefit for my guardianship docket, because a lot of the persons that are under guardianship are in locked facilities. They could be out at North Coast. They could be at a locked nursing home. They could be in their own home, have mobility issues. They could have cognitive issues that don't make it easy for them to move around, especially in the wintertime. They could have transportation issues. And so that's been a real boon to access to justice for persons on that docket. Same with the mental illness docket. And that's one of the line items on there. If you see, my budget is probably the shortest budget that you've seen as far as what the general fund items are. Like the system that we had to shift expenses away from the general fund, all of our computer funds pay for all of our computer expenses are paid for out of our computer funds. We pay Courtview $47,000 a year out of our computer fund. We pay the the adult guardianship services from Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries. I believe we pay them $40,000 a year, and we pay them in $10,000 increments per quarter. You don't see any of those in our general fund. There are a couple things on there, like the attorney's fees and other expenses. The other expenses are our mental illness expenses. We do mental illness cases, and it's like the circle of life, is that you give us an allocation, $20,000. We then have those cases, and we bill the state of Ohio for our cases. They pay us for those cases up to our allocation. Our allocation for next year is $7,907. How they came up with that, I think it's horrible that the state of Ohio doesn't provide 100% of the allocation. But they figured that their allocation for 2026 is $500,000 for the entire state of Ohio, yet they know that the billings will be $1.6 million. And the way they do it is they allocate $2,000 to every single county, subtract that from $500,000, and then apply a percentage to that. Our part of the statewide budget is 1.37%. That's $5,900 plus $2,000. That's how they come to that. I disagree with that. And so, again, the circle is that they make an allocation to us. You put a certain sum in my budget. And then we bill against that the whole year. And at the end of the year, if there's money left over, it just reverts back to the general fund. And all of those billings from the state of Ohio are deposited back into a general fund account. I don't know where it gets deposited. It's not into that line item. They're separate line items. It just gets deposited back into a county general fund line item.
And do you said that's the $20,000 on the attorney fee? That's the fee you're talking about?
That's
Or
the one under
that's
other
the allocation?
expenses.
Other.
Other expenses.
Oh, other expenses. Okay.
The attorney's fees was, and I've talked to the commissioners before about this. In 2020, the Ohio Supreme Court made a decision on a case called In Re YEF. It was an adoption case in which they determined that indigent parents who are at risk of losing their parental rights through an adoption are required to have an attorney appointed for them if they otherwise can't afford an attorney themselves. And so, unfunded mandate from Columbus via a Supreme Court decision. So you allocate $20,000 to my budget, and then whatever's left over from that, we just return. Last year, the billing, well, in 2024, it was $1,185. I can guarantee you it's more this year, but it's not $20,000. It'd be as more parents become aware that that's available to them, then they take advantage of it, and not in a bad way. They just use those legal fees. And it's the same thing. That money is then just returned to the general fund at the end of the year. And so it's kind of like a placeholder, but you can see that even when I asked for the $20,000, I have no idea where it's at so far this year.
Right.
All I can tell you is that there have been, since I do all the adoptions myself, I can tell you that we have had more asks this year for attorney's fees. The other things, the supplies and contractual services, those total just about $7,500. And
Well, those numbers in your other expenses, they're only $47,000 total. That's your ask. And honestly, we need $11 million to kind of get, and so the 47 isn't the issue. It's really, you've been very consistent in your salaries at about 4%, 7%. And then, your overall budget was always like 4%, 7% increase, 8. And then in 24, it went up 21%. And then now it's up 8.9. So in the last 2 years, it's gone up 29%. So that's kind of to me, looking at the,
Yeah, I was gonna question
Yeah.
that, in
so-
regard to, did you guys add staff there? Because the way it looks.
yeah, we added the magistrate that you approved,
Right.
and
Right.
that was,
is that in 22, I think, or 23, I thought? Was it 23?
you approved that
You didn't hire right
a
away.
couple of
Yeah.
years. No, it took me 2.5
Yeah,
years.
I know, it took you a while.
To
Yeah.
fill that. So
Yeah.
that money was, was returned
Well,
to
it
the
wasn't
general
spent.
fund.
Yeah, it
Or
wasn't
wasn't
spent,
spent.
And that would be the reason also why
That's
your attorney's fees for that same period, because the magistrate has probably got more attorney fees at the same. it would-
The magistrate works for the court, and that is a salary funded. The attorney's fees don't have anything to do with
No.
the
Yeah,
magistrate.
those are, yeah.
Is that one from $1,185 a year to 18,000?
No, that 18,000 is a change, I think.
Yeah.
See how that,
And that's
I thought the same thing. I thought it went
the
up.
20,000. That's the allocation that he's
okay.
talking about.
I was sitting there going the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was looking
It's
at all
not-
three and
He
I'm like,
said
there's.
18, 11.8. I'm like, no, it's, so we're going back and forth.
So when I first started in 2009, we had 15 employees. We now have 16 employees. And so the only employee that we've gone up is the magistrate. And when I came and made that presentation to the commissioners a couple of years ago, is that I was at the largest probate court in the state with
Without a
No, with one magistrate.
Oh, okay.
We've gone from 1 to 2. So if you take counties like Trumbull County,
Or Butler. That's another one.
Trumbull County they might have 5 magistrates, and they're 2/3 our size. They have 4 or 5 magistrates. Mahoning County they have maybe 220,000 people. They have 3 magistrates. And so we have 2. And the guardianship is where we really needed the help at. The guardianship is we have a lot more families coming to us in chaos and in crisis, and the guardianship cases are taking a lot more of the court's resources. And that's where the new magistrate, who just started in September, is going to be taking over more and more of those duties.
And your computer legal research, that column, because you said you took money from there to help with some of the expenses.
Yes.
Can that be used for, help us with security breaches, you think?
I don't know, and so I've been saving for a rainy day.
You got something?
And it's raining at the probate court. So we have a case management system that is 25 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it's CourtView 2. We spend $47,000 a year on it. We are now in the process of getting a new case management system. And it is my intention that I come and ask you for $0 for that case management system.
You don't
I'm
have
not gonna
to-
really ask you for it.
But you guys have the ability to do that on your own without coming to us.
I think I'm going to be able to do it because
How
I've been
much is that
saving.
gonna cost, do you think?
I think that
Ballpark, I don't know.
$1 million.
Really?
I don't know how much, we're meeting with the Equivant people on Friday.
Well, is this
it's-
a state contract?
No, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Like where the state of Ohio's already researched this, so you don't have to go out to bid? Or is this a sole
So-
provider?
So no matter, if we choose a provider, there's nobody here that's from the prosecutor's office, but I think they would back me up on this, is that if we choose to upgrade within the Equivant family, or, which is, the program that we'd be looking at is J-Works, I don't think we have to put out
You'd have to go out to
an
bid,
RFP. But if we want to look at Tyler, ProWare, Journal Technologies, Henshin, we've gone through that process before. Then if to choose one of those, I think we'd have to go through the RFP process and get those proposals from other providers.
But you're looking at using that column, which you do get money every year
The
from.
2 columns, computerization and computerized legal research.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at to help. If you notice, I know you guys come to ask for money from the general fund. We're kind of asking you guys for money. I mean, we're doing the same thing. We're all kind of trying to see, but my concern is this money comes from the state of Ohio, right?
No,
I thought all this money comes from the state.
none of it comes from the state.
Where's that
All-
money?
Every single penny of it comes from filing fees.
From where?
Filing fees from
Not
cases that are filed in the probate court,
just probate?
just probate.
Okay.
So, and if you look at some of those, like indigent guardianship, I mean, it is what it's for. Victims of domestic violence, that 100% of that gets paid back to the state of Ohio. What's also not on here is legal aid. I have to collect fees for legal aid, and they don't even provide any services to the probate court at all.
No, they don't, yeah.
And which is a sore spot for me.
Well, let me
is
ask you
that
this, if the public defender's office, could that replace legal aid, or by statute
don't-
it says? legal aid?
That's by statute. I mean, there is a specific dollar amount that is added on to each one of my cases that has to go to legal aid. Just like there's a specific amount that's added on to the marriage licenses that has to go to the victims of domestic violence. I don't have a choice in that. All these different funds are set via the Ohio Revised Code. And so the legislature just passed HB 96, requiring that everybody have online docketing within 18 months. And I believe that's 18 months from September 30th. We have an online docket, but it does not contain documents, which the documents are going to be required. So that is why at least getting a new case management system is going to be really important for us. But a lot of the processes that and case types that we have, those cases are confidential anyway.
Well, yeah, but my concern is the other attorneys will have access to that, correct?
They will have other,
So
the public
that-
will have
but it's
access
also
to it.
important to be working with our, I call it our fort, our conversant, to make sure that somebody can't piggyback door go into that system, which it sounds like they're pretty solid. This, well, it's
Equivant.
Equivant sounds pretty solid, but I just wanna make sure, like Todd is working and talking to you throughout this process to make sure nobody can come in through the back door and infect us again, that's all.
We don't do anything that involves the internet without talking to Todd or
Okay,
without running it
okay.
through him.
I
When
just
we
had to-
went,
I
we
just
went
wanna
and did
say-
all our upgrades, when we went and did the upgrades recently for the courtroom, I sent all of that over to Todd. He has been great to work
Okay.
with. And so when we expect that he will be part of the conversation.
Okay, good.
Currently, we host our own case management system. I don't think that that's what we're going to be doing in the future. I think it's going to be a cloud-based, and which would really help us in the future for our a COOP program. Is if there was ever to be the continuance of operation, if there were ever was to be a problem with the building over there, that would be a problem for us because our server is over there. And so if at some point that it is like your Gmail, my Gmail isn't, I didn't bring my phone with me. My Gmail isn't on my phone. I only have access to it by my phone. It's somewhere out there in the cloud. In the same way, our case management system will be accessible via the cloud and will be accessible via attorneys and then by court personnel to be able to access and do work. I have seen other judges that have been able to sign documents on their laptop or on their tablet, or they're sitting next to me at a conference and they're signing. They're not signing documents; they're just affixing their signature to that document through a special access code that they have, and that certainly is something that I think that would greatly benefit the court and greatly benefit the county, because people do want to see those documents. Now, again, we have to be very careful because a lot of the documents that we have contain confidential medical information and confidential financial information. Attorneys regularly will file copies of checks that have the routing number, or not, maybe not attorneys, but pro se folks will then file those copies of the checks along with bank account numbers, which could lead to fraud. So once we go down that road, we're going to have to be very careful with the provider, whoever that case
Right,
management
and
system
as long as you're
provider
working
is.
with Todd, we're fine. I think we'll be fine.
I mean, he is,
who-
he's great to work with.
So you're trying to bank here just so you can get into a case management system that you need, and trying to use the money over here from these special revenue accounts in order to do that. So I don't know who in your office that Casey could talk to see if there's any way you could help us out. I don't even know if you can. If your goal is to get a system that's gonna cost $1 million, you're gonna need every dime of this.
Well, it looks like you have computer-related stuff.
Yeah.
You have well over enough to cover your $1 million, but it depends on if you can use it all for it.
I know, yeah, that's it.
I think I can because
Is it the prosecutor's office you work with to make sure, or is that how you, I don't know how that works.
well, I certainly would ask for, the prosecutor's office for any help if I need it. Additionally, judges are entitled to, we get 10 free legal hours per year that we can call up. Like when I go to terminate an employee, I'm not an expert in labor law. So if I terminate an employee, I always call them up and say, hey, listen, we're gonna do this. How are we gonna do this? Let's do this so that it doesn't boomerang. Because let's face it, if I make a mistake, you end up paying for it.
Well, that's why we created, like, you know how we talk about the IT department?
Yeah.
That's the same with HR. We're doing the same thing because, again, mistakes are made all over the county. And because if we're not consistent with our hiring and firing, then there is a problem.
Yep.
As you know, and it's great you get 10 hours. That's awesome, but hopefully you'll be receptive to some of the ideas that we're looking at.
At least the core, the core rules when it comes to employment, you know, because
You'll still do
keeping it
the-
all consistent, you'll still do your stuff.
Their onboarding
but,
and everything else.
You know,
Right.
if you're doing it differently than us, a hiring, firing procedure, and it goes around the county, then there's inconsistency, and then obviously they
so-
tear it apart.
Yeah, with all the employees that overall the county, even though everyone's elected to have their own employees, we're trying to create the same as the IT department, an HR department. So that we all can say, we can at least, like, you can still call down and do that, but in the meantime, you can at least bounce ideas and say, hey, I got somebody who's doing this, this, and this, any advice? Or do you have any documents? Oh, yeah, maybe we'll bring in a prosecutor, instead of you, since you're the judge, you can sit out, and we bring in a prosecutor or legal with her, and they do their first disciplinary hearing, and they know the process. Let them do the work, because you're so lean. You don't, you're actually the HR director, I mean, you're everything, right?
I am,
That's
and
how
so
you
when
are,
you said,
know.
who can you talk to in my office, who can we talk to?
I
It's
know,
me.
I know.
And so,
Well, that's how it's, I mean, you usually come in for our budget hearings in the past with just you, and you rattled it all off out of your head. So you're one of the few people I know that has it all up here.
Yeah, I was soaking it in, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
I was, you know, I'm a numbers guy that I like looking at the budget. I like figuring out, you know, how things have moved through time. And the budget now looks a lot different than it did 15 years ago because we have moved so many things off of the general fund into the special project funds. And Commissioner went back when it was Commissioner Williams, Kalo, and Kokoski. I would say that was the time period. Commissioner Williams came over and talked to me, and he said, you know, how can we do this? And I said, how can I help? And that's what we did. We found more ways to move some of those things out of the budget. And I will even say that the two items that are listed on there, supplies and contractual services, I've decided that I'm going to eliminate those from the general fund budget. And I know that's only $7,500, but
Every dollar
how
counts.
how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so that's a bite.
Yes,
But a
it's
bite.
Republican
So just like that, eliminating and not having the court reporter.
Yeah.
You know, that over time has led to this savings. I don't know how much money you guys have in your, you know, carry over, but if you see $1.5 million extra in there, it's because I haven't had a court reporter. So $7,500, yeah, that's not a lot, but over
Oh, it's a lot.
over 10 years, that's $75,000. That would have paid for, maybe it would have paid for a sheriff's deputy for a year. I don't know how much that cost. So.
More, but that's okay.
So staffing though, you're whole right now, like as of today, you're good in a good place staffing wise, or?
Yes, we are. My office is exactly the way I want it, the way I always wanted it to be. I believe that over time, that the case management system will lead to some savings. Once that case management system gets integrated with the probate court, then I am going to say, I can't guarantee this, but through attrition, that we will hit a lower level than we are right now. Because right now, you come to the counter, and you bring this document, every bit of that information has to be inputted. I've always dreamed that a case management system that once somebody files something, totally e-filing, that it's not the document itself, it's the information that's in that document. That if you say, who is the surviving spouse, you type that into the computer on the attorney's or on the user's end, and that it populates the field on our end. So we're not retyping Mary Smith is the surviving spouse, and that John Smith was the decedent. We're not retyping that over and over again. Somebody else is inputting that. We're more like traffic cops, we're directing the information as it flows through the system. And I think that will lead to salary savings over time. It's just that it's not right now because we don't have that system. And that e-filing and then eventually going to a paperless system will benefit everybody.
No,
And
but we're moving in the right direction.
we're
That's the key.
moving,
So-
we're moving in the right direction. And, I did split off from the other courts years ago. And even now, they're going to a product that would not fit the probate court's functions. We are form-driven. We have forms, we have hundreds and hundreds of forms, and that's how things get filed. Whereas the domestic relations division, the general division, they're pleading-driven. They're driven by a document that is typed out on a word processor, and then it looks like, just like a pleading and is filed. Ours are different. The information that's in the documents, the forms that are filed with us, is what's important to us.
Is that $1 million software helping with, is it going towards that direction where you could do more electronic on it versus manual, entries?
Yes, and so these case management system vendors promised that they could do this 5 or 6 years ago. And you know what? They're only now being able to do it the way that I think that they should do it. They overpromise.
In order to perform.
Deliver, it's
And-
like anything else, to get their foot in the door, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you need more money for this. And,
Yeah, so like our Courtview 2 system that we have, it's very clunky, it works, but it's, this is the 21st century.
You had it 25 years old, that's that. old.
Yeah, it's old, and so e-filing, and you think about all the other cases like estates, trusts, name changes, marriage license, all that will be online and be accessible to the public, but I'm not always sure that that's a great thing because people can, get that information and potentially use it for nefarious reasons. We will do what we can to keep out accounts and confidential information out of those documents.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what this meeting's about. I don't know if you have any more questions, or?
No, other than if there's any way you can find something to reduce the expense of you guys, that's, we're just asking you to take a look and find out if there's anything in there.
The only thing I can see is in helping us out with IT, which you're already part of our umbrella, which is good. I know the previous probate judge was happy with when we had, I brought in Ernie Smith. And nobody else really cared, but he worked well with him when they
They
started.
worked really well with me.
Oh, you were here when Ernie was
Oh,
here?
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And so
I
when-
hired him at my old company when he came back from England from being in the military. And so he had all that high-tech intel, and he said, hey, I'll work for the county. I said, okay.
So
that was
when
the first
I
attempt.
started, we had an IT person.
Yeah.
And then when I met Ernie, and I said, Ernie can be our guy. And he was. And that he's left. And then, like I said, since
We had some bumpy
Todd's,
roads before
we did have
Todd
some.
got, till Todd got here, and now I'm hoping he can build, he has to build his team underneath, because you don't want everything, all your eggs into one guy, So he's building that team underneath him. Now, whether it means bringing on IT people from other elected officials to create that team, we don't know yet. We're building it as we move forward.
But
So,
but he's been responsive to what we need, and we keep him in the loop when we had to do, like I said, all those upgrades, and they had to because they needed to get access to the systems in order to be able to make, put our new system in, because our system, the recording system, does piggyback onto the county's IT system. We need a place to save those recordings to make sure that they always exist.
Well, okay, because what we'll do, I think next is maybe Casey will be talking to you, since obviously you're the guy that's in charge and the one that's doing all the work. So probably see if there's any wiggle room to help us out. And if not, the HR might have, help you out a little bit and see if we can help you with part of the HR county plan where we want to say, here's the policies. If you have any questions, go to her or call your free 10 hours, you know, because we might need, if you talk to her and help you through the process, you might need that 10 hours for something serious. You know, I don't know. I'm just letting you know.
I generally am using a couple hours a
Oh,
year.
okay,
and
then it's not a
so-
big deal then. Okay.
So,
But it is good to at least review what we do versus what you do, to keep everything consistent, you know, and if you see something in there that you feel that, hey, we need to look at this. We just want a robust, main, just, core,
something consistent.
HR
Yeah,
department.
something consistent.
Yep.
Because when one person in the county, they're a county employee, and that office is doing something different than this office, then it's like, you know, oh, you discriminate. You know, we don't.
We don't want to be in the courts.
Yeah, yeah. You're already there all day in the courts. We don't want to be there, so, you know.
yeah, I'm just
to help you out, that's all, you know.
add that we did some other things in our courtroom. We put all new courtroom chairs in. Our courtroom looks beautiful now. You guys provided the carpeting, and we put all of the new chairs in. Those new chairs cost $29,000. We paid for it out of our own budget, and it goes in front. I don't know if it goes in front of you as some kind of request to pay it, but it still got paid out of one of these
Your
other
special
funds,
revenue
a
accounts,
special
yeah.
revenue account.
And we look at
we've-
that, when they come through, I'm always looking at, okay,
Yeah.
how's it being paid? And if it says 1,000, that's when okay, that's general fund. We're like, okay, now we need to look at
We
it.
scrutinize it a little more.
Yeah, we do, so. Again, the one we are starting to look at is all the computerized ones and seeing how we can, you know, help mitigate some of those costs out of the general fund, so. That was it. That's just, you know, just wanted to have this as a working, more of a working.
We're asking for
meeting.
your help,
Yeah,
that's
just-
all, whatever you can
I'm
do.
willing to
Yeah,
help.
anything, yeah, that's all we're looking for. So I appreciate you coming in
Sure.
and.
Is this mine to keep?
Yeah, just kind of
Alright.
shows you what we're all looking at, and so we're consistent and on the same page. But I appreciate you coming in.
All right, well, thanks for having me.
Okay, we're done.